5, 6, 7, 8.
Summer. A little summer GTC with our besties.
A little summer.
And a little bit of spirit fingers.
I know. That was the rain that is bound to come.
Oh, no. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Gilmore to Consider with Tara and Haley. I'm Tara. This is Haley. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Tara.
It's our first Gilmore to Consider video episode. We've never done a Gilmore to Consider on video.
We haven't.
That's awfully
fun. We thought
fun.
it might be fun to do a little reaction to the voicemail.
Yeah, because people don't get to see how we react in real time. You know, obviously we listen. We listen and we don't judge. But it's a little,
Sometimes.
but maybe sometimes we judge a little bit. But it's very fun to listen and have some reactions sometimes. And so we get to kind of add a little visual to that.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about. It's summertime. I just got back from your house, Haley's house.
From Haley's house.
We had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. We got a lot done.
See, we got so much done. My mom asked if we were productive, and I kind of was like, were we? And then I counted how many episodes we did for our new version of Patreon, and I was like, whoa.
I said that to my mom.
Got a lot done.
We did, yeah. I said the same thing. I was like, we didn't get as much done as I think I would have liked to. We recorded 8 episodes, and my mom was like, what?
What?
I was like, yeah, we recorded 8 episodes. We did a live. We did an intro to another episode, blah, blah. And she was just like, that's a lot. I was like, well, yeah, we could have done more.
Oh, yeah.
Just never enough, right?
Never enough.
Never enough. But I am very excited for today's Gilmore to Consider. It's a general summer GTC, but it does have a bit of a theme. You know, I always love to pick voicemails that kind of fall in line with one another. And
what's the theme?
The theme is June 3rd, because a lot of people called in after our June 3rd episode to talk about what they thought or ways that they could contribute to the story. So I'm really excited to share those. But it's been a minute since we've done a Gilmore to Consider episode, and I just love our listeners so much.
Me too.
And I'm reminded of it often, but specifically every time I go into the voicemails, you guys leave the most wonderful messages for us. And I just want you to know that we have not heard all of them because there are a bunch. And actually on our VTO live, someone asked us how many voicemails we have. And I was like, oh, very many.
Thousands.
But you know, it was such a joy to listen to them. And even if we don't play them, chances are we've heard them. And so we love y'all so much. And it's a beautiful little reminder every time I open this little Google Voice.
Google Voice. I know. I want to do more this fall just because I love hearing y'all's voices. I love that y'all get to talk back to us.
I love hearing perspectives or contributions to the conversation, opinions. It's just, and your personal experience with the show is so important, and that's what makes our show so special. So it was really cool to revisit that. And I know I say that almost every time we do Gilmore to Consider. I'm like, I love you guys, but I do. It's true. Yeah,
our hands.
Yeah. Truly. So, like I said, today's episode is very June 3rd themed. We did a June 3rd episode.
June 3rd in July.
I know. Yeah. We were initially going to do this GTC, I think, in June, but we ended up kind of pushing back because I got the flu after I got engaged, and then we did the engagement episode.
I was like, no, you got engaged.
Both happened at the same time.
I got the flu. Nothing else happened.
Well, I got the flu, and doing the ATX episode just felt like such a gargantuan task that I was like, I can't do it. But it was perfect because we wanted to do a little engagement episode anyway. So it kind of pushed our schedule back with the GTC, but that's great because it gives more time and space for voicemails to come in, because sometimes an episode airs and we don't get the voicemails in time for the recording. So this was perfect. And I wanted to come back around to this because we did our episode, The New and Improved June 3rd, and we did a bit of fan fiction around the idea of Lorelai and Luke getting married. I feel like I need to talk really quiet because Brett's home from work today. So I almost feel like I need to whisper it. Getting married on June 3rd. On June 3rd.
Well,
it's a secret.
They didn't get married. Can I tell you, my
they
grandma
did they maybe did in our episode.
Yeah. But my grandma, she loves watching our videos on YouTube, and
Hi,
she watched that. Hi, Grandmommy. Maybe she sees us right now.
I hope so.
But she didn't know what was going on, but she said she enjoyed it.
Love that for her. That's great.
Heart hands for grandmommy.
I love that. So I have 2 voicemails today that I want to play for you. That I'm just very excited to hear your opinions. I also don't know how I feel about at least one of them just yet. Actually, both of them. But I'm trying to figure out which one I want to. Actually, you know what? I don't know how I feel, period. I'm trying to figure out which ones I want to play for you first.
Pick a card. Dealer's choice.
Okay. I think I know which order I want to do this in.
Okay.
So we're going to start with a voicemail from our bestie Emma about June 3rd and a little bit of a change up in what we proposed, no pun intended, in the new and improved June 3rd. So let's hear from our bestie Emma.
Hi, besties. My name is Emma, longtime listener, huge Gilmore Girls fan. Listening to your rewriting June 3rd podcast right now, and I'm just having an idea, and I really think that this is how we solve a lot of the problems. It's the same ending, except it's the same ending for Rory as what Lorelai has at the end of season 6. The wedding is fine. She and Luke get married. We get our big Stars Hello wedding that we all want and we all love and we all need. But at the wedding, she and Logan break up, and Rory ends up in bed with Jess. And it's the culmination of their relationship. It's what we've all been wanting them to do since season 2. It's the same shock factor of Lorelai going back to Chris, but instead, it's the younger generation. Rory is now making her choices, making her mistakes, while Lorelai moves into a solid place of happiness and joy with Luke. And then season 7 can be them navigating what's going on with Rory. She's recently single. Are she and Jess together now? Really? She's going through her senior year. Maybe they bring Matt back to do some stuff as Logan. We see him off and on, and there's a bunch of tension that arises in that. We have to see Jess go through the ideas of, like, did she get with me because she actually really likes me, or was this just a convenience thing? Was it because we have history and she knew I'd be safe? Like, there could be so much drama happening there. And then when you're back in Stars Hollow for season 7, there's drama. There can be stuff with the inn. There could be issues with, they could continue the same storyline of Luke trying to get partial custody. Like, there's still drama that could happen, but we could see Luke and Lorelai being a strong team who have each other's backs and, like, have their own little dramas, but it's not so much tied up in their will they, won't they. It's tied up in external factors. And I just think that would really have culminated well. And then the show in season 7 could have ended with what Amy wanted, if Rory's going back and forth, like, between Jess and Logan, and it could have ended with her being pregnant at graduation. She graduates. She doesn't have the big proposal. This is still Emma. I got cut off. The graduation ends with Rory and Lorelai sitting and talking about what's next, and Rory tells Lorelai, I'm pregnant. And then there's that whole part of it. I just think that would have been a much better culmination to the whole thing. We knew that Logan was an endgame. I think we all kind of think Jess is endgame, especially with the look back in the revival. Like,
yeah.
Truly, I think that would have been a better story than watching Lorelai fuck things up with Chris again. Because we all know Chris is never going to be the man that Lorelai needs him to be, because he's too much a part of Emily's world. Those are my thoughts. That's what I would have done. Love you guys a lot. I listen to the podcast all the time. You guys have given me a newfound love for the show. So appreciate you very much and hope you're doing really, really well. Okay, bye.
Emma.
Thanks,
Love
Emma.
you too.
We appreciate you very much and hope you're doing really, really well. I loved this. And when your jaw fell when she said she ends up in bed with Jess, that was me listening to this for the first time. My jaw fell to the ground.
I was like, well, Emma, what was really fantastic about, because this was obviously 2 parts because she had a lot of thoughts and I'm so glad she did. But the first portion of the voicemail didn't have a transcript, so I couldn't read ahead of what she was saying. I was like living in the moment.
Exactly.
That was the last thing I expected to happen.
I know.
And I was, it's very clear that Emma is Team Jess. And I love that for her because she was talking about like, isn't this what we all wanted? And I'm like, was it what we all wanted?
And that's why I was really excited for you to listen to this voicemail, was because I was like, I don't know how Haley's going to feel about this. My teenage heart was like, yeah.
Yeah, little Tara under her covers of the DVD player
was like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, of course this is what we wanted, Emma. No, but when she invoked the look through the window, I was like, okay, well, but can I say, you can
say whatever you want. More to say.
That's actually what we're here. So I can talk about these thoughts. Is that while I am Team Logan, I love this man, CEO of Team Logan, I might like in the last couple of weeks have to step down as the CEO because I've not been feeling this man. And so maybe that's why I feel really drawn towards this idea of them breaking up, because season 7 is their relationship isn't particularly interesting. But I kind of love this idea. Like, there's something about this that like is moving the show in such a way that I really appreciate it. And I think that what Emma said about Lorelai and Luke spending season 7 really having each other's backs is what we're really missing, is like a rooting in a relationship. Because like Luke and Lorelai are on the rocks in season 7. We don't really care about Rory and Logan are doing because they're like just happy and that's it.
We do not care about Rory and Logan in season 7, like not at all. It's
not
in
like
rewatching it. We're kind
I care
of like,
about Rory,
yeah,
but not their relationship.
Totally.
And so like I think to have like a full season where they're like actually together, supportive in the way that they were in the early seasons, but like they have their own little drama separately and it's not necessarily together. But I do imagine the drama that would come between the two of them with whatever the fuck is going on with Jess and Rory. It would be very reminiscent of season 2.
It would.
But this time they're together and like it's not like they're not going to yell at each other in the street a la Teach Me Tonight.
Right.
Though you know how much I love that. But wow. Wow.
I know there's a lot. And I love that Emma like really thought about this. She really took us on the journey. Here's what I have to say is that she brings up this idea of the, you know, what we saw play out with the June 3rd of it all and partings and everything that we get at the end of season 6, which is so spicy, and shifting it to the younger generation. Rory is now the one making mistakes, but here is my only gripe with this storyline is that we've already seen it. We got Rory in bed with someone who she shouldn't, maybe not that she shouldn't have been in bed with, because with Jess, it's like, I'm so fine with that. In fact, I'd like to root for that.
What if that had happened in 4? Because the problem is that she is cheating. She's sleeping with a married man.
Correct. Yeah.
But if she's now sleeping with a man and no one's in a relationship.
Well, but here's the thing is that, you know, is that how we feel about Lorelai and Chris at the end of season 6?
I don't think they're cheating.
I don't think so either, but I know a lot of the fandom kind of does. They feel like
wrong.
I agree with you. But that's where a lot of the...
Make your own decision, but I don't think so.
That's just where a lot of the conflict comes into play. It's like Rory's now the one, you know, making decisions and Lorelai's the one moving into a stable, consistent relationship. But that is what we get at the end of season 4 into season 5. Rory is the one making mistakes and Lorelai doesn't know what to do with it. Lorelai is moving into a healthy relationship with Luke. And so would that just kind of be more of the same? Because then we also in season 6 get Luke and Lorelai trying to navigate how to deal with what's going on with Rory because she's making even more mistakes. So would the audience be even more exhausted by Rory if she then made another kind of move like that or plot twist like that at the end of season 6?
You know, can I be honest? I think that this might be like, you know, Rory making a mistake, but like at the end of the day, Rory's not really making a mistake. She broke up and then she slept with someone else. But I think in that vein of like Rory, like making these mistakes, tripping up, trying to figure out what she's doing, and like Lorelai kind of being on the outskirts of that, trying to figure out like early season 6 what to do with her. I think because so much of the audience loves Jess Mariano that she'd be like, she's finally on the right path.
Is this Rory Gilmore's redemption arc?
She's cleaning up her act.
Yeah.
That I think that it might like maybe like push towards the other direction. It would just all be about how it gets handled. I did like that Emma threw in for me, like, Matt could come back for some scenes.
Yeah, for Haley.
And I was like,
Haley
thanks,
only.
Emma. Thank you for understanding me and my need for that. But yeah, I think it would entirely depend on how it was approached. But I just think that so many people love why did you drop out of Yale? Love that guiding factor. I actually really love the idea of Jess trying to figure out his place in all of that, if like she really does have an affection towards him, or if in the same way that with Chris, she just wanted someone familiar when she was feeling sad.
That's the thing. Is this a repeat offense in the same way that it's like history repeating itself, or rather, if it's not history because it didn't happen, if we're doing an alternate timeline, is the story going to go the same direction where Rory and Chris fall in, or what?
Whoa.
Rory and Jess. Yikes. It's a very different story. Rory and Jess fall into, you know, this romance with each other because she and Logan aren't going to work out.
Yeah, implying that like maybe by the end of the season she'd be
back with Logan.
Because then immediately something that Emma didn't answer, because I was like scribbling little notes on my notebook while she was talking, was who's the father?
I know.
Rory's baby.
Well, maybe it's left open-ended even though we know who the father is. And
well, we know who the father is in A Year in Life. Yeah.
Yes. But some people try to say that they don't. I'm like, guys, come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
I used like alternating caps in a reel that we did about it recently. Like
I loved it.
It was a post. I was like, what about the Wookiee? And like, I get notifications about that because I posted it to from my personal account of people being like, no, it doesn't make sense.
I know. Like, I had to reply to somebody on the podcast and be like, I know she's kidding.
I'm being silly. I'm just being a little jokester. Yeah. And I love that people took that seriously. But yeah, Logan's the father in the revival, but like there's this element of like, are we doing a love triangle for season 7? Is this the summer I turned pretty? Ooh. Except Jess and Logan aren't brothers. That would be a fun twist that they were. No. This is not Days of Our Lives. But
I just like the idea though of more of the two of them together, because and maybe it's because we only got a little taste of it. It was so good in Battle Lakers that we're like, oh, I want to see them again. But
yeah,
you know, I don't know if it would be a lot of this. Really would be history repeating itself. If it would feel like a repeat of season 2, 3.
I wonder,
which
though,
I'm not mad about.
Like, actually,
considering how we felt about season 6 and 7.
Though, no, I wonder because as it turns out, it wouldn't be, would it? Because Jess was like, you know, what's Taylor call him in A Tisket a Tasket?
The young hoodlum in the back.
The young hoodlum in the back. Like, he's not that guy anymore. He's not making fake chalk outlines, though I still feel like adult Jess would totally do that. And, you know, he's come into himself in a way that he absolutely wasn't. Like, both personally and with Luke, like his relationship with Luke has changed entirely. Like, he feels so much gratitude towards him. Totally. So I think it would just be like 2.0. Like, if that was Jess and Rory the early years, this is Jess and Rory the later years. Like, Jess has changed a lot, Rory's changed a lot. And I think that so much of what we've talked about in season 2 and 3 about Jess is he was not a good boyfriend. I mean, he wasn't her boyfriend in 2, but like, he was not a good boyfriend in season 3.
No, he wasn't.
I kind of would have cried if Jess was my boyfriend, is what I say a lot.
Yeah.
And like, when Lorelai kind of had to push him, he had to do that whole thing of like, now that I've got you, I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he would take a leaf out of the Luke Danes playbook and seem grumbly about it, but do it because he likes spending time with Lorelai and he's going to do whatever Lorelai does. So I'd be really interested to explore what that kind of be. More self-assured Jess, calmed down Jess Maybe Jess is in therapy. Maybe they opened a mental health office in Stars Hollow. They'd make bank.
We can only hope. We can only hope.
So I would be really interested to see what an adult Jess relationship would look like.
Yeah.
Even situationship would be fun.
Yeah, 100%.
Jess and Rory sneaking around Stars Hollow?
Are you Team Jess?
I'm not. Don't say that. That's an attack. I've been attacked. I came to my own podcast and got attacked. I'm not Team Jess. I'm just really not Team Logan in season 7 right now.
Yeah, I know.
He's too confusing and too... I wish he was more cowabunga dude on the outside.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I don't care what y'all say. That was a bad line.
Bad line. Bad
I don't care
line.
if you like it.
Yeah.
It was a bad line.
I'm interested how you feel about our next caller's proposal.
Okay.
Because our friend Autumn had a scene that she wanted to add to what we did do in the new and improved June 3rd. So everything stays the same, kind of a deleted scene, but something that I think is a bit of the antithesis of what Emma just laid out for us. So let's hear from our bestie, Autumn.
Hi, this is Autumn. I've called in before. How are you? I love your podcast. For the new and improved June 3rd, I just wanted to add a scene to the very end when you said that Luke and Lorelai and Rory and Logan are all eating lobster at the table together. Camera pans Jess and Chris pining from outside of the tent, and Chris says something thought-provoking, like they just wanted a different life than what they had, or like something like that, and the audience realizes that Jess and Chris are foils this whole time because they are the young love that has undeniable chemistry, but just will never be in the same place at the same time, can never work out because the Gilmore girls want a different world than the one they grew up in, and they will always have those strong feelings. It's just not them. Boom. That would make my heart happy. So I wonder what y'all think about that.
Hi, Autumn. First of all, I'm doing great. How are you?
I love that it started out like that. How are you? We're good.
I'm doing quite well. I hope that you are doing well as well. Yeah. I love that both of these voicemails include a wellness check, and I quite like that.
Quite like that too.
You know, I really love this idea. I love this idea of like Chris and Jess kind of having this, you know, commiseration. My only qualm with it is I don't know that they would talk.
I mean, this is very fan fiction. That was one of my first thoughts, was like, I don't know that we've ever seen the two of them next to each other interact. So I don't know that he would know enough about Jess to be like, oh yeah, they just, or if he said something, not knowing who Jess was, that connected them in a way where he's just spewing out his thoughts, Jess realizing that they are one and the same.
Yeah.
Cause we did bring this idea up earlier this year about Jess and Chris kind of being parallel characters and ways in which, they shake hands, you know,
even like a father running like water. That's the two of them.
Exactly. So, and I see a lot of it, even though I do think that the parallels are meant to pair Jess and Luke together and Logan and Chris. I think that was the intention.
It mixes for all of them.
But it is something that is not lost on me that you have two people, young love, undeniable chemistry. And what I loved about this voicemail is that it draws attention to the fact that both Gilmore girls, in a sense, I think Lorelai more than Rory, long for a world that is different than the world they grew up in. I think for Lorelai, it's that she really does not want the wealth and the, high society life. Rory, I don't know that she's necessarily opposed to the Stars Hollow life and gravitating towards the high society life. I think we saw in season 6 that she's just kind of like, It's moreover that she's not opposed to the high society life and that she dreams bigger, or at least she did when she was a high schooler. Like, I want to go to Harvard. I want to, not necessarily escape the small town, but I have big dreams. So, but it was
I don't think she was ever
interesting.
angry at the small town life.
No, I don't think
like
so
in the way
either.
that Lorelai was angry at like the high society.
But I do think in A Year in the Life, it's less about being angry. It's more about like sheepishly in a way coming home and being like, hey, I feel like I failed. I feel like I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And now I have to kind of come home and reset. And there can be, not always, but there can be a negative feeling associated with that, depending on where you're at in your life and on your mental health journey. So I just thought it was a really interesting perspective to throw into what we already kind of envisioned about June 3rd.
Yeah, exactly.
And putting two characters in the story that admittedly, it's not that I didn't consider them. I did for the drama of it all, but not for the perspective of linking and paralleling
together.
the characters together.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea because like my first thought with this was Dean, season 5 Dean. Like season 5 Dean talking to Luke in To Live and Let Diorama when they're helping with the Stars Hollow Museum. And basically Dean is like making Luke feel bad about the fact that they're together and like explaining why they're going to break up in the future because they want more than this. And so that's immediately what I thought about. And I like the idea of Chris and Jess having a moment together, but to, I guess, put it into the reality of their relationship, I could maybe see Chris having this conversation with someone else and Jess overhearing it and Jess having his own moment as it relates to them, like just
all of the look through the window, like having this experience with it. Like maybe it's Emily and Chris, or maybe it's Chris drunk talking to anyone about it, or maybe it's Jess talking to Luke about it and Chris overhears it. Like something about it that I feel like them being in the same shot, having the same feeling but not talking about it is maybe a lot more in line with how the show usually goes. But I just like the idea of them being connected in that way. Maybe without directly talking to each other at all.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
They are watching The Ones That Got Away.
And I just find it really fascinating that both Emma and Autumn took the look through the window with Jess at the end of the series of A Year in Life.
So perfect. I'm team look through the window.
Yeah. I love it that they were both like, you know, this could satisfy that look through the window in one way, and this could also connect that look through the window with another character in another way who aligns with it. I just think that's so cool. And I love that perspective so much.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So of these two, which do you prefer?
Well, you know, I really like where we landed in our episode. I thought it was really fun. But that was our series finale. That was our idea for the series finale. So do I want another season? I kind of do. Like, I kind of like the idea of them having this huge happy wedding. But like, we've never had like a season that kind of ends really on top of the world. I would say season 3 does for the most part. Yeah. There was that little throw in about Luke kind of being a little unsure. But for the most part, every other, you know, even Suki's wedding ended with the both of them kind of in this really precarious place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of like Emma's idea, like of Jess and Rory sleeping together and Rory and Logan breaking up. Oh my God. Tell this to Haley from 2022 Gilmore to say.
I know. She'd be like, who's that?
She's like,
who's inhabiting my body?
Yeah. That someone has taken over. I've been taken over by AI. Someone help me. But no, I love Autumn's idea. I love her addition to what we already did. But I say I really like Emma's.
Yeah, you're right. They lead to two very different things. I think that even with the scene thrown in at the end, the deleted scene, additional scene, if you will, from Autumn, we could still wrap the storyline up. And I forgot that we had done it as a series finale rather than a cliffhanger, whereas Emma's story is more of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I prefer. I'd love to hear what y'all think.
Yes. It's really hard because partings I love so much. And so this whole scenario deletes it. But I think that the drama of it with Emma's kind of brings that back for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Very interested. We'll have to put a poll up to see if anyone would want Rory to sleep with Jess. Oh, the hardship.
I was like, they're all going to say yes.
No,
or
not
most
everyone.
Of them. I think a lot of people
I'm even interested to see if it's most.
Okay.
We'll have to throw a poll up head over to Instagram. We're not going to forget, because I'm very fascinated to see how many of you would want Rory to break up with Logan and sleep with Jess.
Wow. I can't wait. So those are our voicemails today for June 3rd in July. But I loved hearing your perspectives on what you thought could, either change things up a little bit about June 3rd, enhance our storyline. It was great.
Yeah. I also love Autumn. I love when an Autumn loves Gilmore Girls, because it's like, oh, you're so perfectly suited to this.
Oh, I know. It's so perfect. So next week's episode, we have been talking about this a lot. We're watching season 7 on Patreon. We are nearing the end, and we are going to be watching the series finale, the original series finale, Bon Voyage. And we're going to be airing it here on Gilmore to Say. I cannot believe that we've reached the end. I can't believe that, we've been reminiscing on 2022 a lot lately, between the Bachelorette episode, which was an absolute hoot, such a riot to listen to, just because of what it was, but also because the sound quality is so different in our podcast, and just
also because we had Hannah Brown earlier in the week. I literally was like, did
transition. We manifest that? But anyway, just thinking about the 2022 versions of us, and I can't believe that we started Gilmore Revisited, our Patreon podcast, in April of 2022, and we have finally arrived towards the end. We're going to do 8 weeks covering a year in the life, and I'm very excited about that. But it's, and then we start our new tier of Patreon, which I'm very excited about. But it's so strange to do this is our last recap episode on the original series, and we're really excited for you guys to hear it.
I'm excited, but I might cry.
You might cry. I might cry. I don't know.
I might cry. I've been feeling mixed feelings about season 7.
I know you have. And if you want to hear those mixed feelings, they're very interesting. Join us on Patreon. But the following week, we are going to do a season 7 recap and then a season 7 Gilmore to consider. We're doing a lot of season 7 coverage in these next couple weeks. So if you have thoughts, feelings, especially if you're with us on Patreon, you just want to share,
save them all up.
Call us, beep us if you want to reach us. But next week, we're going to be covering the finale of season 7.
And we'll have more to say on that in the next episode.